The story of Jesus' death, also known as the Crucifixion. The story of Jesus' death, also known as the Crucifixion, is one of the most significant events in the Bible. It is recorded in all four Gospels: Matthew 27, Mark 15, Luke 23, and John 19. Here's a summary of the events leading up to and including his death. 1. The Last Supper, Luke 22, 7:38, Matthew 26, 17:30. Jesus gathered with his disciples to celebrate the Passover meal. During this meal, he instituted the Lord's Supper, communion, giving them bread and wine as symbols of his body and blood. He predicted that one of his disciples would betray him, which turned out to be Judas Iscariot. 2. The betrayal and arrest, Luke 22:47-53, John 18, 1:11. After the meal, Jesus went to pray in the Garden of Gethsemane. Judas arrived with Roman soldiers and Jewish leaders, and betrayed Jesus with a kiss. Jesus was arrested and taken to the Jewish authorities. The trials, Matthew 26, 57-68, Luke 22, 66-71, John 18, 12-40. Jesus was brought before the Jewish council, Sanhedrin, where he was falsely accused and condemned for blasphemy. He was then taken to Pontius Pilate, the Roman governor, because the Jewish leaders wanted him executed. Pilate found no guilt in Jesus but, pressured by the crowd, sent him to Herod Antipas. Herod mocked Jesus and sent him back to Pilate. Pilate, trying to avoid blame, offered to release either Jesus or Barabbas, a criminal. The crowd chose Barabbas. Pilate then had Jesus flogged and sentenced to crucifixion. 4. The Crucifixion, Matthew 27, 30-56, Luke 23, 26-49, John 19, 16-37. Jesus was forced to carry his cross to Golgotha. Soldiers mocked him, placed a crown of thorns on his head, and nailed him to the cross. 2 criminals were crucified alongside him. Jesus spoke 7 last words while on the cross, including, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." Luke 23:34. It is finished. John 19:30. Around 3 p.m., Jesus died, and the earth shook, the temple curtain tore in two, and darkness covered the land. 5. The burial, Matthew 27, 57-61, John 19:38-42. A man named Joseph of Arimathea asked Pilate for Jesus' body. Jesus was placed in a tomb, and a large stone was rolled in front. Guards were placed at the tomb to prevent theft. 6. The resurrection, Matthew 28, Luke 24, John 20. 3 days later, Jesus rose from the dead, appearing to his disciples and proving his victory over sin and death. This event is the foundation of Christian faith, showing Jesus' sacrifice for humanity's sins, and his resurrection as the promise of eternal life.